was the scene just 90 minutes ago here at the Devaney Center in Lincoln, Nebraska, as the Red Zone storms the floor, trying to help their Cornhuskers prepare for KU. Welcome to ESPN College Basketball Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. It's the #3 Kansas Jayhawks taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers from the Devaney Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Fran Frischella, and welcome to the opening day of Big 12 Conference play. And already, Texas lost on the road. Oklahoma lost at home. Fran Frischella, is it going to be one of those kind of years?
It always is, Rod. You know, the non-conference is like playing guys from the other side of town. But these are neighborhood rivalries. And when you go on the road in a league like this, nothing comes easy.
Hard time for our Star Watch. And the big fella from down under is the one that the Cornhuskers are depending on heavily if they win tonight.
Well, you're right. Alex Marich, the leading returning scorer and rebounder in the Big 12. And first-team all-conference. He'll go up against a trio of bruisers up front for Bill Self. It starts with Darrell Arthur, the sophomore, and two seasoned seniors, Darnell Jackson and Sasha Khan.
Here are the starting lineups. First of all, for the visitors from Lawrence, Kansas. It will be Chalmers, Rush Robinson, Darrell Arthur, and Darnell Jackson. Dagundura will start, the very athletic one, a junior at one of the guard positions, along with Cookie Miller and Henry. Ryan Anderson also would guard, and the only large body in the starting lineup is Alex Marich, the young giant from Sydney, Australia. And let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team. Here's Holly Rowe. Holly?
Hey, Ron, at the start of today, there were 5 undefeated teams left in college basketball. Only 3 are left. Kansas is trying to avoid the same fate that fell upon Washington State and Vanderbilt today. Bill Self said, hey, I've had to tell my players, only look as far as our own conference. Texas getting upset by Missouri. And senior guard Russell Robinson said, Bill Self has been talking to us all week. Put those big wins by a total of 73 points against Nebraska last year out of your mind. Once you get to conference play, it's a whole new world. Guys, they'll have to play like it's a whole new world because this place is rocking.
Okay, Holly, yeah, we can hardly hear you here. Capacity house. In fact, they sold standing room only at $20 a pop. Pretty smart, huh? Kansas on offense first.
Man-to-man, you're looking at the second best defense in the country according to points allowed and field goal percentage.
Alley-oop, they tried to backdoor. Very quick read on the part of Nebraska, but still right there, Darnell Jackson. And boy, what an improved player in this league is Darnell.
He is having a great year, Ron. That play they set up in the walkthrough today, they thought they could get Dagundura leaning towards the top of the key.
Dagundura dishes it off. This is Marich out high, and into the little one, Cookie. Miller, we're going to call him Local. He's the smaller of the 2 Cookies that have played here in Lincoln.
Cookie Belcher wasn't bad.
No, not at all. Shot clock at 5. Three-pointer off the mark, and Brandon Rush pushed from behind, and he was fouled. Donnie Gray is the referee tonight. Terry Davis and Terry Oglesby are the 2 umpires.
Ron, Nebraska runs the same offense that Kansas does. So Dagundura tried to cheat over the screen. Bill Self set up the back cut lob at the walkthrough today.
We're going to talk more about that, about the closeness of these 2 coaches and also the closeness of their offenses. Boy, Arthur with a nice, soft touch, and he gets it to go down.
One thing you want to do if you're Nebraska, you need to make shots. It sounds simple, but Kansas is a spurt team.
Backdoor, Dagundura can't get it to go. Missed it a little too hard. And out on the wing quickly is Rush.
Should have laid that up instead of tried to dunk it.
Rush for 3. And Doc Sadler says, I've seen enough. I want a timeout. 7-0 run by the Jayhawks of Kansas. And we're going to hold it right here. And one of the things that the Cornhusker players talked about in preparation for this one, let's go back and visit last year. The white towels was a miserable failure.
Well, you're right. It was a slow start last year. The game was over 43-7 at one point in the first half. And Kansas, Ron, does it on the defensive end, but their defense turns it into offense because of their athleticism in the open court.
One of the things also I think that you could look for on the offensive end for the Jayhawks when they come down, and that is to send Maric on his man through a lot of screens to tire him out.
They're going to do that. You know, earlier this week, Bill Self called out Brandon Rush for being too unselfish. And you can see right off the bat, Self has called his number early.
Well, Bill said he did that in their last ball game as well, and the young man came out in the second half and hit 3 trays back to back to back.
Keep your eye on Robinson and Chalmers, the best defensive backcourt in college basketball, in my opinion.
Bounce pass inside. There's Maric in the first 2 points of the night. Set up the play on the sideline. You'd like to see that, and the offense comes out and has success with it. Cookie Miller trying to bother on the defensive end. He has 58 steals on the year. 27, I beg your pardon, and 58 assists. Offensive foul, Arthur.
Well, you were right, Ron. Out of the timeout, they set something up to go inside. You see Maric with good position on Jackson and an easy 2. That's something they need more of.
Or the drop step. Very quick move, and he was right there to just finger roll it in. And you're right, Daganduro should have had a layup rather than trying to jam it before that. But anyway, they're off the snide, and it's 7-2. You look at the numbers defensively for KU. Field goal defense, 38%. Turnovers forced, 20 a ball game, just over. Shot a little too hard. Comes down in the arms of Jackson. Darnell inside. Darnell Jackson back out to Rush. 3-pointer. And see what happens when this kid is challenged. He just answers. He steps to the line and answers.
You know how that gets set up, too? They're trying to go inside to Darrell Arthur on the 6'4" Anderson, so the defense has to collapse. This is one of the shortest teams in college basketball in Nebraska.
And, of course, when you add Cookie Miller as a 3-pointer goes down for Anderson. Cookie doesn't help the percentages or averages at 5'7", does he? Jackson.
Boy, you're looking at one of the most improved players in the Big 12. In fact, Big 12 Player of the Week last week, Darnell Jackson, the senior.
Told me last night after the shoot-around that he has lost just over 20 pounds. Andrea Hootie, who is the lady who is in charge of, she's the therapist, so to speak, and helps them with their diet and also their physical workouts. And he said, yeah, I feel better. I have more stamina, but I feel quicker as well.
You know he's already strong. See, they're looking to go inside on Anderson, Ron.
Kansas 5 of 5 from the floor, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. Some kind of start. 12-5 the margin. Rush has it blocked, and Maric is going to be called for a foul. Well, it looked as though he might have had a clean block, but the official right underneath was there and made the call. First one on Maric.
What you do like about this is Brandon Rush heeding his coach's advice and getting very actively involved. That's a good block right there. You hate to see your star pick one up, but that is all ball. And yet Rush starting this game very aggressively.
Gets the first one. Substitutes coming into the ball game. Sasha Khan will come in. Darrell Arthur will go to the bench for the Jayhawks. And Maric will go to the bench. And checking into the lineup, number 4, Steve Harley. And friend, who else came in?
And one of the 3 Chinese players in college basketball, Chung Ping.
Chung Ping, 6'10", 230, out of Harbin, China.
Russell Robinson, he bothered the heck out of a very good guard last weekend, Tyrese Rice. Quick hands.
Anderson hands it off. About to go under 16 minutes to play in his opening half. 14-5, the Jayhawks of Kansas.
Going to be harder to score now, Ron, because you don't have to double team Maric with him not in the game.
Shot clock is at 5. Picked up the dribble. That's danger. Deep in the corner. Left-hander with a three-pointer. Wouldn't go. And the rebound comes down to Brandon Rush. Brandon has 8 points in the opening going to this ball game. Russell Robinson, 3 off the mark. Kahn got away with a little bit of a push there. Off to Chalmers on the wing. Not there. And Miller, shortest guy on the floor, skies for the rebound. Crowd loves it.
And he lost the headband. He feels a little lighter right now.
Anderson, nope, not there. Here's Russell Robinson. Looks for Jackson, open in the middle, but goes off to the wing. Nice ball movement, whistle and a foul inside. Got to be against Ryan Anderson, his first. 14-5 KU.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Now get over 85 of the best channels in HD and more coming throughout the year. And in part by the new all Jeep Liberty.
Well, Doc Sadler's guys trailing early, 14-5. And Fran, take us through something that's happening, a mismatch that KU has on the floor.
Well, because they have Arthur guarded by the 6'4" Anderson inside, take a look now as they dump it inside. That collapses the defense. And then Brandon Rush sits on the three-point line and knocks down the easy three. This is the most balanced of the great teams in the country. They can score inside and out.
Final score, Texas Tech 55, Oklahoma State 74.
Darrell Arthur is going to spend more time on the bench. Sasha Khan will come back out. So it'll be Chalmers, Jackson, Russell Robinson, Khan, and Brandon Rush on the floor for Kansas. Alex Maric checks back into the ball game. Staying in also is Ping, the junior, who had come in a moment ago. So it gives him a couple of 6'10" players. And also Harley will stay on the floor. Steve, a junior out of Temple Hills, Maryland. Russell Robinson lost the ball. Here's the young man we were just talking about. Harley at the other end, fouled, scores it, and they're going to give a continuation, it looks as though.
Yeah. What happens, Ron, is as long as he's in his shooting motion, it doesn't have to be over his head. But if Donnie Gray feels that he's in his shooting motion, let's see where the foul is. Junior college All-American from South Plains. That's close. It could go either way, but you don't have to have the ball over your head for it to be in your shooting motion.
And he gets the good roll, so that makes it a 14-8 ball game, and the Husker faithful feeling a lot better right now.
Now the key is, you know they're going to be solid defensively. They've got to score baskets.
Robinson inside to Kahn. Head to Cutter. Ball knocked out of bounds, touched last by Xiangping. And Holly Rowe, let's check with you again.
Guys, in that last Nebraska huddle, Doc Sadler was fired up, spit flying, very emotional, very passionate. He said, guys, remember the last thing I told you before we came out of the locker room, stick with what we do. If it's good times or bad times, in the bad times, don't run down and jack up a three. We've got to stick with who we are.
Well, sounds simple, but kids get excited, particularly in front of capacity houses like this. Right now, the shot clock has gone under 10. Sharon Collins in the ball game now, being bothered mightily and stolen by Cookie Miller. And listen to the round of applause. In fact, a standing ovation.
Well, last year was a first-round knockout in here. And while Kansas still leads, look at the pressure by the little guy, Cookie Miller. Nebraska's been knocked down early, but they've gotten back up.
Ball on the floor. Kahn almost took it away. Gathered again by Nebraska. Whistle and a foul inside on the Cornhuskers.
One thing Kansas has is depth in terms of bodies they can throw at Alex Maric. So that's one of 20 fouls when you throw the freshman Cole Aldridge in there as well.
Kahn picks up his first. March, a very, very popular player here in Lincoln, and for good reason. Miller goes to the bench. He gets a standing ovation. And J.R. Strobridge comes in, a sophomore out of Ardmore, Alabama. Has had an ankle problem, but they say he is okay. Did not start him tonight, though.
And in fact, Doc Sadler likes this situation. He likes to bring him off the bench because he's a very solid, no-mistake guy.
Collins looks for the cutter. Full-point ball game. Kansas 14-10. Double on Chalmers. Here's Rush. Plenty of time on the shot clock. The bouncer goes to Kahn. Right side angle, not there. Dagandura comes down with the rebound for Nebraska. And I mean, this house right now is going absolutely crazy with everything right that Nebraska does.
How about a basket right now, Ron?
Oh, it will erupt. Ball touched last by Kansas, saved in the backcourt.
See how Chalmers gets a piece of balls and disrupts an offense.
Collins plays through the screen. Dagandura off on the wing. Harley off on the shot. Steve Harley back down floor quickly in transition. About to go under 13 minutes to play in his opening half. Very fast-paced. One of the opening games in the Big 12 Conference. Sharon Collins almost didn't draw iron on that one. Maybe a little bit tight. He did not start in the ball game tonight. He's only been on the floor about 2.5, 3 minutes. Double team stolen by KU. Kahn comes away with it, and it's Chalmers. He scores, and Chongping will pick up the foul.
You know, it's usually the guards that knock the ball loose, but Sasha Kahn right here did a terrific job of jumping out on the ball. Take a look at this. He pokes it loose, and then it leads to the Chalmers basket in the end one at the other end.
I tell you, everybody has people with quick hands, but KU can come at you from 5 different angles, even the large people. But you talk about Sharon Collins. Kahn was right there helping him on the double team, and also Chalmers. He's always either leading the team or right up there in steals.
Oh, 1-2 in the Big 12, Robinson and Chalmers. Yeah. He's like a Venus flytrap.
So Chalmers, just talking about him, he goes and takes a breather for a moment.
Bill Self really has 7 starters when you think of Collins and Kahn off the bench.
So that means that Arthur checks back into the lineup, 0-0. This is Steve Harley. South Plains College, where he played his junior college basketball, and his friend was just giving some of his plaudits. He was an All-American in the junior college ranks. Bang, lost it, dropped it on the floor, right in traffic, taken away by Rush, and KU quickly back down the floor.
They can go inside again.
Yep, and he's got position. Maybe one pass too many.
You're right, Ron.
They called 3 seconds, though, on Arthur. I didn't know anybody held the ball for 3 seconds for that.
But there's no reason that Arthur shouldn't have just caught it and gone right up. Take a look at how deep he gets Anderson. See, he needs to turn baseline and just elevate over the 6'4" Anderson. That's a situation where he was too unselfish.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, for such a very good basketball team, they can be extremely selfless.
Yes.
17-10. Jayhawks on top, about to go under 12 minutes to play. Anderson, bounce pass into March, blocked by Sasha Kahn. Comes right back to Anderson. Shot clock is now under 10. Into March, or the ball was rifled by Harley. Really unfair for the big guy. And the jam home by 0-0, Darrell Arthur, sophomore out of Dallas, South Oak Cliff. All of a sudden, it's a 9-point lead again for KU.
And one of the things Kansas has done is they're trying to wear down March. Very tired in transition the last 2 possessions.
Well, they leave it on, and March will shoot the 3. Boy, he almost didn't draw iron on the play.
See, if I'm Doc Sadler now, I get him a blow. You got a TV timeout coming, Doc.
Arthur, travel called on Arthur.
They hurt you inside and out defensively. It starts with the block, and then at the other end, the dish and the finish.
Give it all or nothing. You know how we coming. Get out our way. Better clean.
Next week will definitely be a week of impact on the ESPN family of networks. A chance to see 9 of the top 12 teams in the Premier Conference action. And you'll also have a chance to track and see 2 of the remaining unbeatens, an unreal slate of games. And in fact, that ball game right there is where Fran and I will be, along with Bill Raftery and Holly Rowe, on Wednesday evening, 9:30 Eastern Time. Coach Bobby Knight goes for victory number 900, and he'll be going up against a very talented Texas A&M ball club out of College Station.
15-1, and you really don't hear much about them, but Mark Turgeon has done a great job in the transition from Billy Gillespie. He really has.
Well, and as far as the inside people for Texas A&M, and watching them today, and I've read where some people say inside, Texas A&M may be as multi-talented as anybody in the country.
Maybe as multi-talented as these big guys with DeAndre Jordan, Joseph Jones, Brian Davis has played very well, so a lot of big bodies, and Kansas will go to A&M and Texas later in the year.
Well, it excites us as far as Big 12 conference play is concerned. Missouri coming up with a huge win today. Henderson's ball club playing really well at home to knock off a favored Texas team. And then Oklahoma losing at home to Kansas State. Inside to Marich is a little surprised that he came right back out to play. They didn't give him a couple of minutes.
They're trying. Yeah, you're right. They're double teaming him inside, and he's kicking that ball out quickly.
Three-pointer. Cookie Miller, wow. Well, do you think he couldn't run for mayor of this city? Sasha Khan with the turnaround jump hook.
You know what you like about that if you're Bill Self? Marich has 1 foul. Can't really guard you the way he wants to guard you, so Khan went right at him.
Anderson off on the wing. A little too hard by Harley, and it's 1 and out on this trip.
Another mismatch inside, Ron.
Chalmers, Sasha Khan, the easy shot off the glass from right in front.
Well, Doc Sadler has some big guys coming. He's redshirting some. But right now, with Anderson at the 4, only 6'4", he's a mismatch for defenses on offense, but he is a liability on the defensive end.
Under 10 minutes to play, opening half. Now, this time last year, you have to admit, the 23-13 10-point margin, we were at like 20-point margin in this far along in the first half. Marich fouled, and let's see if Khan just picked up his second. And Holly Rowe, let's check in with you.
Well, guys, you're bringing up the score from last year at halftime. It was 43-8, and Doc Sadler told me yesterday, hey, I went back and looked at that tape, and we had open shots. We just didn't hit him. So consequently, in that last time out, he really got on his team and said, hey, I want you taking the open shot. If you're open, shoot it. We saw 2 guys come right down and do it, and at least Cookie Miller hit his.
Yeah, and boy, they love him, don't they, Holly? You're right over there listening to all those kids. Every time Miller does something like get a steal, pick up a foul, hit the 3, this place just erupts.
And I think that's where they've made some improvement, Ron, with Daganduro, Miller, and Harley more athletic, and those are 3 of their top 6 scorers.
Yeah, Doc Sadler talked about that with us quickly today. He said he just brings so much to the table. And Fran, last night after the Kansas shoot-around, Nebraska had already worked out earlier in the day. He came in, sneaking in the gym. He wanted to shoot a few more.
Yep, Daganduro, a very, very positive influence early in his Husker career.
Arthur back out on the wing. Collins zips it out. Chalmers. Great ball movement. Robinson left all alone, and he missed the wide open look. Daganduro comes away with the basketball.
You know, Daganduro's brother was a 2-time Letterman here at Nebraska.
Yeah, great
defensive tackle.
It's surprising because Daganduro's on the slim side. I understand his brother was not on the slim side. Maybe 60, 70 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
Anderson strong to the hoop. Count it. And they'll get an opportunity for a 3-point play.
He's at a disadvantage on the defensive end, but trying to guard him on the offensive end is a chore. You see the high closeout by Jackson. Anderson able to get to the rim.
Second foul on Darrell Arthur. Sasha Khan had to go to the bench just a moment ago. Bill Self had to sit him down, picking up his second. So Coach Self with a 6-point lead, which could be reduced to 5 right here. But getting more fouls on his big folks inside than he would like. Anderson does complete the three-point play, and it's back to a 5-point margin.
And you get a sense that the Devaney Center crowd appreciates this effort.
Yes. Stewart into the lineup. Roderick Stewart, number 5, a transfer out of Southern California. He's a senior now. Rush. Boy, had a shot. Yes. Didn't take it.
Got to shoot that ball.
Jackson on the turnaround. Rattles it in and out, and lucky in the shot, and taken down by Nebraska. And the foul called in the backcourt. 75 feet from the hoop. Bill Self's not going to be real happy with that one.
You know, I don't know how you feel, Ron, but we were watching the walkthrough today for Nebraska. You really can't call it a walkthrough. It was a full-fledged practice, and the intensity level was palpable in the arena.
And it's one of those things when you saw the ease that Nebraska jumped out to a 10-point lead in this ball game. You think, well, that's probably what should happen and what is going to happen. But again, just like Texas going to Missouri today and getting thumped, Oklahoma losing at home, and that's a good K-State team, but still they were at home. So once conference play begins, those things that happened, the ball bounces differently in the conference season, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Like I said earlier, it's like playing with guys in your neighborhood. Everybody knows everybody.
Well, the interesting thing, Bill Self and Doc Sadler are just really good friends. And in fact, the offense that Nebraska runs, you talked about it off the top of the telecast, although it has been tweaked some by Doc, is the same offense that Bill Self runs.
That's right.
3-point ball game.
Wow. I know this, loudest place I've been this season.
Nebraska 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Chalmers for 3. And he was fouled by Henry. And that's going to go to the line for 3 for Chalmers.
Well, cardinal rule of basketball, never foul a jump shooter. This is just some, look at the exuberance by Henry. Instead of just going vertical, he goes at Chalmers to try to block the shot. Chalmers will shoot the 3.
And for those just joining us, with the Patriots game being at halftime, our situation is 24-20. The Jayhawks, number 3 in the nation, undefeated, leading the Cornhuskers, but it has turned into a struggle as a sold-out capacity house here at the Devaney Center, and they even sold standing room for this basketball game. They're standing up in the rafters tonight to see it, and they are making a lot of noise. Second one on the way, and Chalmers gets that one. All 3. Miller strong to the hoop, couldn't get it. Ball is tipped up by Jackson. Off on the wing. Rush for 3. And, you know, you see the coaches over there on the Nebraska sideline, and they just put their head in their hand because they've had 3 really good sequences, and bam, bam, just like that, they're back down by 9 points again.
Well, Kansas, we talked about the balance they bring you offensively and defensively, but you don't get back in transition, they will murder you.
Ballman in the lineup again, number 32, gets it inside, tried to reverse it, and he was fouled, and I think that is going to be against Jackson. So Rush with 11 points, averaging 10.8. And he cans this 3 from deep in the corner. Okay, Reese, thanks so much. Our situation is 29-20. The Jayhawks of Kansas leading with 7:16 to play in the opening half. How about Green Bay? As Marich gets an opportunity to sit down and get a breather. Ted Thompson, their not player personnel director, but their general manager, a longtime friend. He's not one that gets a lot of publicity, runs under the radar, but good heavens, he's done a great job with theirs as far as keeping good personnel, and they're proving it again this year. Way to go, Teddy. go to Holly Rowe here as she visits with this gentleman. Now the AD in Nebraska. And Holly, I think it's a job that he's wanted personally for a long time.
Well, we're going to ask him about that. You know, I saw you at the Big 12 Championship, Coach Osborne, last year. You said, oh, I'm just going to go back and be a professor at Nebraska. But now you're the AD. What changed?
Well, the chancellor called me and asked me if I would be the AD. And talked to my wife, and we thought it was important to do this. So it was very unexpected.
It was a real time of turnover when you took over. You had to hire a new football coach right off the bat. Many thought Bo Pelini should be the coach last time around. What made him the candidate that you guys chose ultimately this time?
Well, we needed to make some changes on defense, and Bo was probably the best defensive coach that I knew that was available. And also it had a track record. He'd been here in 2003 and done a great job. Also as a head coach for the bowl game. So we thought he was kind of a natural fit.
Well, I know people think that a football school can't be a basketball school, but what do you think about this atmosphere supporting your basketball team tonight?
Well, this place is sold out. There's about 15,000 people and standing room only, so we're glad to see it. I think Doc Sadler's doing a good job. We're getting better. You know, Kansas is a great team, and hopefully we can keep it close and maybe at the end make a run at them. So things are coming along as far as basketball.
And last question, big shot there, Coach. You've retired from politics, but you've got to have your eye on the national presidential scene. What do you think of the primaries so far?
Well, it's pretty jumbled right now, and I have no idea what's going to happen. John McCain has been a personal friend, so I'm kind of glad he's getting some resurgence.
All right, well, thanks, Coach, and it looks like you guys are getting a resurgence here.
Okay, thanks, Holly.
Holly, thanks very much, and our thanks also to Tom Osborne, the athletic director here for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And I think that contract, he's got 2 years. There's some speculation that Remington, the former All-American center, who has run one of the big fundraising arms for charity up in New York City, is one of the guys that could be considered as a foul called on KU inside. He's one of 4 or 5 candidates. But anyway, a lot of things happening here in Lincoln.
Get the feeling there was a sigh of relief from Husker fans when Tom Osborne came back to take the athletic director's job.
Yeah,
a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, and I think another sigh of relief when Bo Pelini took the head coaching job. There's one thing I want to have. Bo's going to come on with us in the second half, and I want to find out one thing. Bo Schembechler told me a long time ago, rest his soul, that you could not be a head coach and your own defensive coordinator. And Bo Pelini is bringing his brother with him to do just that. I'm going to throw that question at him if, if he had been given the same kind of logic before. 5-point lead, Jayhawks, under 6 minutes to play. Collins for 3. That's way off. His 2 shots tonight, yes. I'm not sure he's even drawn iron on either one.
I think you're right. And the reason he's getting those shots is Nebraska has really shut down the lane here in the last few minutes. And they're giving up those threes.
Second foul on Marich. Looks over at the bench, and Doc Sadler is not making a move right now. Rush. Nope, not there. Tipped around inside. Marich comes down with the basketball.
With the freshman Aldridge, this would be a good time to go inside to the big Aussie.
Miller with a bounce pass. Anderson looks inside. Marich low. And there's the second quick foul on Aldridge. Cole Aldridge, the big freshman out of Bloomington, Minnesota.
Big is relative, Ron, because Marich goes 275. They set this up twice. They got it the second time. And you see how he backs the freshman in right underneath the 10.
And you see the grin as he looks over. Nice ball movement on the part of Miller to Anderson and then inside. Big Monday means college basketball on ESPN. It begins with a doubleheader. First, 7 Eastern, catch a Big East showdown. It's going to be Georgetown taking on Pitt. Then at 9 Eastern, the Oklahoma Sooners on the road to travel against Big 12 rival Kansas. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN. And that's where we will be on Monday night for that Oklahoma at Kansas game.
Blake Griffin with a huge game today, as Michael Beasley did as well.
Dagundura picks up the foul, his second.
We may not see March the rest of the half round with those 2 fouls.
Well, we got 5:18 to play, and you're probably exactly right. And Colt Aldrich, it's almost like Nebraska said, well, we saw you coming, young fella.
Yes.
You're going to be a really good ball player, but you still have some freshman things about you. Yeah, you're green.
You're green.
That's pretty direct. And they took it right inside on him and got what they were looking for. Dagundura goes to the sideline. He probably will be done for the rest of the half, and Steve Harley, number 4, replaces him.
See, the thing you like about Rush, Ron, remember he had the surgery on his knee in June, and they expected him to start to hit stride, so to speak, at the beginning of conference play, and he's off to a great start.
Melander back in the lineup. He had that long shot just a moment ago, which pleased the crowd no end when Holly was doing her interview with Tom Osborne. Plenty of time on the shot clock, just now at 10. Miller looks up at it. Stewart on him, now Jackson. And driving to the hoop, too hard off the glass, tipped out on the wing. Brandon Rush. Tough pass, skip pass to Chalmers, but it was a line drive, and it's turnover number 8.
It looked like
Kansas.
It looked like a slider, you know. it came fast and it dipped at the last minute. And Rush said, my bad, from across the court.
See Bill Self turning there, talking with Curtis Townsend. Talking about personnel, I'm sure. Collins went to the bench. He's getting a breather. Miller back out on the wing. Anderson for 3. Nope. Jackson comes down with it. Chalmers back out on top. Rush for 3.
Wow. Set up by Chalmers. How about the baseline drive, Ronnie? Knew exactly where Rush was.
16 points for him. I mean, the ball movement by this group of Jayhawks can really, really be fun to watch. Not if you're the opposition, but I mean, it is bang, bang, bang.
You wouldn't have to tell me to shoot the ball, and they've got to do that with Brandon Rush. He's so unselfish.
Well, and again, his coach called him out. Every time he calls him out, you know, here he comes again. And has a great game. Shot clock is at 6. Miller, quick stop, puts up an air ball.
You know, you can be too unselfish. You could actually hurt the team, but not tonight.
Watch Rush and watch this ball movement right here. Chalmers inside. Back out on top. Rush. All right. Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska. Part of the red zone here tonight. 34-24. The Jayhawks on top. 3.5 minutes left until intermission time.
I don't want to give it away at halftime, but I didn't know Roy Hibbert had that much range.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I saw that, and wow. Anyway, don't miss it, folks. Pass inside. I don't know how he got that. That was threading a needle to Jackson, and the big fella came up with the basketball and jammed it home. Jackson now with 6 points.
You know, he came in shooting over 70% in his last 8 games. Bill Self calls him the most improved player on the Jayhawk team.
No, he is.
Yep.
And
he's more explosive.
Well, plus the fact that, you know, I talked about the weight he had lost, but the self-confidence is just soaring. You know, that shot from 12, 14 feet that people used to not respect him for, now they have to get out there on him. Well, turnover right there, lost by Strobridge. JR got up in the air, lost the handle, had no place to go. Doc Sadler knows that they got to keep the lid on right here. It could be big lead at halftime. 3-pointer on the way. Chalmers off the mark, but the long carom back to Rush. Another 3-pointer, not there. Stewart battles, and Anderson comes away with it. Stewart with the foul.
Stewart committed a foul on a guy that went to the same high school, Rainier Beach. Of course, in Seattle, it's produced the likes of Jamal Crawford, Nate Robinson, but Well, this is a pinpoint pass, but take a look. You talk about being quicker and stronger because of losing that weight, Ron. That looked like a tight end right there. That looked like Martin Rucker from Missouri. Take a look at this. Don't give Mark Mangino any ideas. He's got that 5th year left. I mean, Todd Reesing will be recruiting him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, boy, there's some exciting things going on in the conference in both football and basketball. Of course, the people from KU excited about their perfect start in basketball, but they also got their chest out and well-deserved for a huge win over Virginia Tech in their bowl game down in Miami.
Did you tell me you think the league will be even better next year in football?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And I think even the teams that have taken on new coaches, I think you'll see improvements in those, and maybe some very quickly. Chalmers back out on the wing. Robinson for 3.
Can't get any better than that.
This is what I was talking about. And Doc Sadler looks up and says, man, 15 points that quickly. Let's take a timeout. 1:56 remaining until intermission. So where you're back as you look into the KU huddle. Well, Robinson, when he shot that thing just a moment ago because of the ball movement.
Yeah.
It looked like he had an acre in front of him.
He
left
did.
Open, didn't he?
And you know, Chalmers could have went a lot of different directions. It's a little dribble weave. Now, take a look here as Chalmers attacks the lane. And then as he sucks everybody in, he can go here. He can go to the baseline. He finds Robinson. And that's that unselfishness we've talked about.
Dagundura back in the lineup, and he may have just picked up his 3rd foul. Wow. Doc Sadler gambles a little bit there. He puts him back in with inside of 2 minutes to play with 2 fouls. And boy, picked it up in 10 seconds.
And it's a good gamble, Ron, when you're down 15 like that. But, of course, gambles don't always work. He's got Marichbach in with 2 as well.
This is what's interesting. No field goals for Nebraska since the 6:38 mark. It's coming down 5 minutes right now. And that's what KU, everybody talks about their offense, but everything happens off their defense, either in transition or then they set half court and get the good ball movement. Stewart misses. Ball tipped out on the wing, and it's Miller.
Now let's see now if they go back into March, but he's got to play delicately because of the 2 fouls inside.
Henry back on the lineup as Dagundura certainly has to go to the bench on this trip. Verlander stays in the lineup along with Anderson and March.
Well, Robinson playing a zone almost off of Miller. You see him really dig in.
Anderson along the baseline. Verlander 3.
Yep. Don't want to leave him open. That's one thing he does.
So Kansas calls a timeout with 71 seconds showing on the clock. Women's college basketball continues on ESPN2 Monday night with an ACC matchup as Shante Black leads the Duke Blue Devils against Christy Tolliver and the Maryland Terrapins. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN2, 7 Eastern this Monday. Brandon Rush in the middle of that huddle. 16 points for him, 6 for Chalmers, 6 for Jackson, 4 for Arthur, and 4 for Sasha Khan. And Holly Rowe, you got more on Brandon Rush.
Well, guys, it's just remarkable how quickly he's come back from that torn ACL. He had surgery on June 1st. He came back in just 5.5 months. That's almost unheard of for an ACL injury. The coaches say he did it because of his commitment. He did not miss a single strength training session or a single rehab session. And Brandon told me today he actually rehabbed 3 hours a day, 3 different sessions at 2 hours each. And guys, they really think it was just his commitment to getting back that's made this remarkable comeback story.
Okay, Holly, you know, another thing with him is the physical conditioning that he already was in as he rehabbed. And it helped him and recovered, it appears as though.
And you know, the brace can come off anytime it wants. He's just so comfortable with it right now. Of course, it's millions of dollars at stake when you think of his potential draft status. So probably a good idea.
Well, it hasn't slowed him down that you can tell. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Chalmers.
Same thing, Ron. Dribble weave. Whoever's open. They've had 8 different players this year lead them in scoring. Balance inside and out.
Well, they are 50% from beyond the arc.
Isn't that amazing? And their big guys shoot 60% inside the arc during the season.
6 of 12 from beyond the line. 20 seconds on the game clock and about 12 seconds on the shot clock. Wilander.
That's his third three. 36 of his 39 shots this season have been behind the arc.
Actually, one of that first one was a 2, so it's 8 points for him. 2 seconds, down to 1. In and out, did not go. We're at halftime. And although they're down by 12, the Husker faithful are up and applauding the effort of these young men from Nebraska. And let's go to Holly Rowe.
Coach, a very different first half here than last year, but more importantly, the three-point shooting they've been getting. You wanted to make those perimeter guys drivers. What do you have to do a better job there?
We got to make them drivers, and then we got to hit free throws, Holly. You're not going to get many opportunities to get easy baskets. We've missed 3 drives, and then we've missed 6 straight free throws, I believe. So you can't make those mistakes and expect to beat a team like this.
Daganduro with the foul trouble, March with a couple. How are you going to use their minutes
Well,
in
the
the second
bottom
half?
line is I talked to Coach Haskins this week, and he said, Doc, if you get in trouble with 2 fouls, make sure you get your best players back in. And I thought it could get out of hand, so I put both of them back in, and I think it was a good decision.
All right, thanks, Coach. That was a Don Haskins tip right there, guys.
Okay, Holly, thanks so much. Our score at halftime is 42-30 Jayhawks. Now let's join Reese Davis, Hubert Davis, Digger Phelps Davis, and Jay Billis Davis. More Davises than you've ever heard, folks. Listen to them disagree at the UPS halftime report.
Hey, Ryan.
Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV. It's the number 3 Kansas Jayhawks against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and our score at halftime is 42-30 in favor of Kansas. And you know, Fred, we were talking about a lot of different stats during halftime, but the one that really jumped out at both of us: 14 field goals for the Jayhawks in the first half, and folks, 12 assists. We talked about how unselfish they are. That's pretty doggone indicative right there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Last 7 games, they've had 6 different scorers, Ron. That talks about exactly what you meant as far as the ball moving. But Bill Self chided his all-Big 12 player, Brandon Rush, earlier this week for not being selfish enough. Well, that hasn't been a problem tonight because Rush has been on fire. 16 points, 4 for 4 from behind the arc, and a more aggressive approach for the young man coming off ACL surgery last June, starting to hit stride in his first Big 12 contest.
So the stats sheet looks just like this. As far as Rush, Chalmers with 9 points, 2 of 5, 4 rebounds. And Wilander, 8 points for him, 6 points for Alex Maric. And the Nebraska bench, this is the only total that they won. 13 points, and I think KU only got 3 points off their bench.
And that KU bench averages 30, but it's early. Bill Self will go to it quite frequently.
Anderson, bounce from inside to Maric. They double on him, but still the big guy from Sydney with the jump hook gets it.
Very well done. They spaced the floor nicely, and they got him into a one-on-one situation.
Boy, Arthur is doubled and tripled. Rush just inside the 3-point line. And Holly Rowe, let's check in with you.
Well, I checked in with Bill Self for Kansas at the half, and he said they got lucky in the first half. He said Alex Maric did not go off, only 6 first-half points, despite Kansas big men getting in trouble. He said, I expect them to go to Maric early and often here in the second half. He said, we dodged a bullet.
Well, it's interesting because the first thing that they did is the ball gets knocked away. Robinson picks it up in the easy putback. But they went right to Maric just as Bill thought they would.
You know, the key is they need to keep going to him, and that's not easy the way Kansas can throw those big bodies at you. Let's see if that becomes a pattern. You see Robinson is playing off Henry because Henry is not a shooter, Ron. He becomes a man-and-a-half defense on Maric.
Interesting that the comment that Doc Sadler made to Holly just before halftime that Don Haskins thought that he had is as far as getting information on how you should substitute when you got a kind of situation of 2 fouls and a half.
Well, especially against a team like Kansas where you need all your weapons out there.
Rush may have gotten away with an over the back right there, but the shot was missed, so a good no call. 12-point lead.
And they've gotten 2 really good looks so far. Once inside to Marich, and then Anderson is pulled up from 3.
Miller is an amazing guy. You think, boy, you're just going to cover him up as Marich misses the ball from just inside, hustles for the ball. And is Marich okay? He's obscured from our view for a moment. Okay, up and back up the floor.
Well, we talked about great guard play defensively, but remember, Kansas also one of the shot blocking leaders in the country. And you see Darrell Arthur from the weak side. That's what makes them so good defensively. Perimeter play, bothering the passer, challenging shots in the paint.
Three-pointer too hard off the back iron by Chalmers. And a travel is called. It'll stay with Kansas. 6 turnovers against Nebraska. Chalmers resets it. 17:45 to play in our ball game. Chalmers looking for Arthur. They got him doubled up, so he'll just take a 3 and can it. 12 points for him now. Got a dozen.
He does everything quietly, Ron. You know.
And a lack of emotion also. He never really gets emotional, does he?
He you hate to say the guts of a burglar because he's so good defensively, but he's the one guy that never minds being in a pressure situation. Mario Chalmers.
Dugandura gets it inside. Marish has the ball stripped away, and Marish again on the floor, and he calls timeout. And you'll hear a huge round of applause for this hustle, and you do. So let's take a timeout. 17-10 left in our ball game. 15-point Jayhawk lead. 47-32 Kansas leads, and we've had 2 minutes and 50 seconds played here in the second half. Take a look at the graphic of the KU players and their production tonight inside.
And it's not as much what they do offensively, but it's how they control Alex Marich, who's 2 for 5 tonight, and career in 7 games against Kansas, only averaging a little under 10 points a game on 34% shooting. There you see the big fella. He goes 6'11", 275. Kansas has 4 weapons to throw at him.
He had to call another timeout.
Timeout, Nebraska.
So they only have 1 timeout left. If we double check that scoreboard, it's going to show 2. Should be down to 1 because he's already called 2. And we haven't played 3 minutes yet in the second half. He's already been on the floor 3 different times.
But with those timeouts, at least he'll be rested.
Oh, my. We're going to promote that coming up at the next break that we have, the 16-minute break, that the new head football coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Bo Pelini, is going to come and join us at the table. I mean, it was a celebration at halftime. They introduced Pelini's entire new staff. And then him, as you look at Bo sitting here, and I hope he's close to us because he's going to come sit with us shortly. But I mean, they applauded and applauded. It was about to die down from a standing ovation, and the people said, "No, this is fun. Let's do it again."
And it was a great time for me to go to the restroom because nobody was in there. Everybody was out here meeting the new football staff.
Dugandura. That one may have been partially blocked by Rush. Dugandura goes on the floor, saves it to Anderson. 3-pointer short. Rush will rebound.
No, that's not Henry's shot. They'll give him that all night long, but he was open.
You talked about that he's one that they're going to back off of, which means March gets at least a man and a half on him, if not a double team. Russell Robinson. Rush, 3-pointer. Nope, too hard off the back iron, and here's Miller.
Got to play through your big guy now if you can't.
You see Chalmers? The conversation's going on, pointing around, playing the quarterback as far as setting up the defense on the floor. Robinson came in for the steal, but he got charged with a foul, and that will be Russell's second.
Little adjustment, Ron. Early in the game, they were trapping off the other big guy. Well, in this case, it's Ryan Anderson who can really shoot it. Now Russell Robinson has become the trapper because he can play off Miller or Henry. And right now he's guarding Cookie Miller. Good adjustment by Bill Self.
Dagundura looks into the face of Rush. Dagundura, normally such a good defensive player, will draw Rush as well. So they see a lot of each other.
You'll see Robinson. He's playing off Miller. They're going to give him that shot.
Anderson way outside for three. Nope.
And you see what happens. You don't have to leave Anderson now. If you don't double off of Arthur, they doubled off the guards. Good adjustment.
Rush put it on the floor quickly. Got by Henry. And Arthur gets the easy basket.
You look out on the floor, Ron, maybe with the exception of Russell Robinson, there are 4 major offensive weapons on the floor for KU at any one time. How many times have you called Arthur's name tonight? And all he is their leading scorer.
Well, you know, one of the things that Danny Manning said that they were trying to accomplish with him is tipped by Marish is to get the ball less but score more. And of course you know what they're talking about when they say that, by rebounding and setting him. Here's Arthur.
Tough shot.
So there's a timeout on the floor. When we come back, we will sit down with the new head football coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Bo Pelini, on his way into the arena.
We can't get on the field quick enough, I'll tell you that much. We're ready to go to work. We got a great group of players. We're going to put the best recruiting class in the country together. We're going to be, come September, we're going to put a product on the field you're going to be proud of.
Bo Pelini sitting here at courtside with us. Bo, that had to be fun at halftime. I mean, the standing ovation just went on and went on and went on. And the fun thing for you is, it's not your first rodeo here. I mean, it's not like you're going to be finding your way around it, because you've already had a stint as not only an assistant coach, but a win as an interim head coach. But these people are not brand new to you. That has to make the coming in a little bit easier.
No, that helps. You know, I'm familiar with the culture around here at Nebraska and the fans and you know, kind of how the way things go, right? You know, around the whole university, and it's a pretty special place, and we're excited to be back.
I know Tom Osborne instrumental in seeing that you came back here, and I know you made a special mention out there, and you have a special and great appreciation for him and what he's done for this university and for you.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt, and for me, it's a dream come true. You know, my first head coaching job, and to have a legend there in the office above me, and somebody I can bounce things off of, and can help us in so many different ways. And believe me, we're going to be smart enough to take his advice and to use his expertise, and it's going to make us all better in the long run.
Oh, so many things you got on your plate. What do you think right now is your biggest challenge?
Well, you know, I mean, the staff came together really quickly, and it's going to be, you know, number one, well, 2 things really. Finish off this recruiting class. There's a lot of work to be done there, and really familiarize ourselves with the current players and start developing relationships, because let's face it, that's what it's all about. It's about developing relationships and a bond between the players and coaches, and that's something that has always been a strong point.
When you left here, you went to Oklahoma and then ended up obviously helping win a national championship at LSU. Any things jump out at you being with Bobby Stoops and Les Miles the last couple of years?
Well, you know, when you're around great coaches, you know, you can't help but learn the right way to do things. And I've been, you know, obviously Coach Stoops, Coach Miles. I was with Pete Carroll. I've been blessed in my career to be around a tremendous amount of great coaches. George Seifert, you go right down the line, and you learn there's certain things that equate to success no matter where you are. And I've been lucky, and I believe I've never been around a losing program, a losing organization, and I'm not planning on starting now. And I believe I've learned the recipe, and now it's just a matter of you know, applying that to University of Nebraska, and they're not far off. You know, there's talent here, and we have a great administration. We have a lot of support and great fan support, and everything's in place. We just got to take advantage of it.
Bo, I mentioned that interim head coach victory that you had at the Alamo Bowl. Did that help you as far as giving you just a little bit of an idea of, you know, what you're confronted with as a head man?
Absolutely. You know, and you know, that was a tough time. That was a time with a lot of uncertainty, and really it was a time where we had to really work to keep the team together and keep everybody heading in the right direction. So it was a great opportunity for me, and one where, it was at a crazy time, really. And when there really, at that time, probably should not have been a coaching change, but it happened, and I ended up being thrusted in that role. But I learned a lot in that time, but I'm a lot more prepared today than I was at that time.
One final question, and I'm glad to see that you did it, and that is you brought your brother in here. As defensive-minded as you are, he's going to be your coordinator. Bo Schembechler, rest his soul, told me a number of years ago, it is really asking almost the impossible for a guy to be a head coach and defensive coordinator. He said that can get you fired. I think you've gone about it the smart way. Had you been given that same theory by some other coaches?
No, I'll tell you, I'm still going to be involved. I'm going to be involved in a lot of different ways, and but, it's going to be no different than when I was a coordinator. We've all worked together on game plans. Even though I might have the final say, we do it as a group, and we're a team, and everybody has input, and everybody has their, we got to use everybody's expertise to get it done. It's not one guy or two guys. It's a full staff, and that won't change now that I'm a head coach, whether I was a coordinator, what it's going to be. Everybody's going to have input.
Big basketball fan, are you?
Absolutely. Love it. And, I'll tell you what, great atmosphere here tonight, but, Kansas, I'll tell you, if there's a more talented team in America than this one, I like to see it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They have a lot going on, but our guys are gutsy, and Doc Sadler's doing a tremendous job here, and I know that people here are excited about what he's doing with the program, and they're going to fight to the very end. But I'll tell you, they're playing a talented basketball team out there. I wouldn't mind taking a couple of those guys and shooting them up for us.
Darnell Jackson, you might see him with Mark Mangino next year.
No, I hope not. I hope he just sticks to the hardwood.
Well, this will help your recruiting tonight. I know it's a big weekend for you.
No doubt. And, people see how passionate these fans are, and once again, it just shows to show you. Coach Sadler's got the excitement back in the program, and you see it. It's as alive an arena as you're going to see, and the people around here are passionate about the Big Red, and it's a great place.
Bo Pelini, new head coach, Nebraska. Very best of luck with you. Thanks so much for giving us your time tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck to you next year. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it, fellas.
So we'll take a timeout. 11:31 remaining. 12-point lead for Kansas.
30 update. NFL playoffs. Green Bay beat Seattle 42-20. Brett Favre threw 3 touchdown passes. Ryan Grant rushed for over 200 yards as the Packers move on. New England leads Jacksonville by 8 in the fourth quarter. Vanderbilt and Washington State fall from the ranks of the unbeaten. UCLA beat Wazoo. Kentucky beat Vanderbilt. Sports Center after the game. Stay current with ESPN News. Ron.
Okay, Reese Davis, thanks so much. 11:31 left in our ball game at a 12-point margin for the Jayhawks. And again, we say thank you to Bo Pelini for taking time to come over and visit with us tonight. Got a lot of work to do, and he knows it, but excited about the opportunity.
Jackson and Rush scoreless in the second half, Ron. Only 11 points.
You talk about adjustments by coaches at halftime. Doc Sadler obviously with some very good adjustments. Robinson, nice dish, and the block inside, and they're going to call a foul on Ballum.
Kansas went to Boston College last week and had their way with the Eagles. You get the conference play, and it turns a lot more physical. You see the block and the foul by Chris Ballum. Grew up really in the shadow of KU, and Shawnee Mission not far down the road.
Now Jackson hits it. That's now 90% for the Jayhawks tonight, 9 of 10. Now coming into this ball game, they didn't have numbers nearly close to that from the free throw line, did they?
Mid-60s. That's an Achilles heel, and maybe one of the few Achilles heels this team has.
The Landers, you can see, back in the lineup for Nebraska. Well, over and back. It's a turnover against Nebraska. Holly Rowe, you got something for us.
Guys, in that last Nebraska team huddle, Doc Sadler told his team, look, you're playing great defense. We know you're going to score, but where everyone has to concentrate is defensive rebounds. He said Kansas has gotten the last 5 offensive boards. He said we're killing ourselves. We're not rewarding our great defense by getting the ball back. We can't give them 2 looks.
Okay, Holly, you know, it's interesting. We were looking during the timeout, and at the timeout prior to the last one, it was 28-14 rebounds in favor of the Jayhawks. It's now a 28-17, but still the much taller Kansas ball club has taken advantage.
I think back to that 43-8 halftime a year ago, Ron, and you can tell the fans are very excited about this performance tonight. And partially because Doc Sadler has brought a toughness and a defensive mentality to this program.
Well, you mentioned it, and particularly with Daganduro, you know, more athleticism. He's about to come back in the lineup. But improving the quality of athletes, now what they've got to do is not only improve the quality inside, but some bigger folks inside.
That's right. And remember, they're redshirting 5 newcomers this year. Some of them big guys that Doc Sadler said today 3 of them would be in their top 9 or 10.
Rush.
Yep.
First points for him of the second half come at the 10:40 mark.
Ron, I made a statement earlier that when you're an unselfish player like Rush, you can actually hurt your team, because when you play good defensive teams, you must take the first good look, and that's what he's done tonight.
Rush, by the way, that's a season high for him as Anderson knocks home a 3.
That's where Anderson is really dangerous. It hurts them to play small on the defensive end, but he is a mismatch on the offense. Take a look at this little pick and roll. Kansas's bigs have got a show. And you see him just step back. Jackson doesn't recover in time. He's not as comfortable as Kahn rotates out playing perimeter players.
Subject to removal from the facility. Thank you.
It's like an over-exuberant fan. Threw something on the floor.
Here's Chalmers bringing it across. About to go under 10 minutes left in our ball game. Kansas, after this one tonight, has 1 day to work tomorrow, and then they prepare for the Oklahoma Sooners coming in for Big Monday. On Monday, we'll have that ball game, 9 o'clock Eastern time from Lawrence, Kansas. Only 3 undefeated teams are left. Carolina 17-0, Memphis and KU at 15-0. KU trying to go 16-0 with a victory here tonight.
Now look at Kansas's schedule in the Big 12. I see 4 major speed bumps, all on the road at Missouri, Kansas State, Texas A&M, and Texas. When I think about them going undefeated, Ron, in conference play, they may not go undefeated, but you're going to have to play very well to beat this team.
Stolen. Anderson split the difference. Daganduro has the ball taken away, but he's fouled by Russell Robinson. Well, just what Fran was talking about just now, the remaining road games at Mizzou, K-State, Colorado, at Texas, Oklahoma State, at Iowa State, and at Texas A&M.
These 2 obviously trap games because of the rivalry, and then Texas A&M and Texas because both have the firepower to stay with this Kansas team.
And of course, this year the tournament moves back to Kansas City in the beautiful new arena, which is in KU's backyard. In fact, I think they're going to have a little celebration and look back. I don't know really about a celebration, but a look back. Monday is the 20th anniversary of the meeting between OU and KU for the national championship. That man right there played a huge part.
Yes, he did.
In a Jayhawk team that won the national title. And Oklahoma had beaten them twice during the regular season. Everybody thought Billy Tubbs' club was going to come in there and win it, but not so. Daganduro too hard off the glass, taken down by KU. Boy, and the crowd wanted a call and didn't get one.
You look at Kansas right now. They've got 5 scorers on the floor.
That's going to be on Arthur. Offensive foul is called. It's the 3rd one on him.
Talk about the balance of this Kansas team. 5 guys in double figures. Arthur takes the most shots of any of those starters, and he only takes a little under 11 shots a game. So The ball is spread out. They can score inside or out.
You know what's interesting? When you look, we've almost played 11 minutes. 16-14 would be the score if we were starting anew, because the Jayhawks have scored only 16 second-half points and 14 for the Huskers.
No, and last year, Nebraska outscored Kansas in the second half.
That's right. In a 20-point win. What was that? 76-56, right?
Yep.
Russell Robinson. I'll tell you one thing about this young man. We were doing a football game in Lawrence and went to see him play, and then went over there and did a game against Arizona. And at that period of time, Russell was really suffering from just confidence was not there. And I talked with his head coach about it last night, and Bill said, you know, it really scared us as Chalmers almost loses the ball out of bounds and he'll gather it. He said, you know, he just... Oh, we got a player down back at the other end of the floor. It's Marich. Continue to play. Marich hit his head. Roberts winning over Oakland tonight as some of the other scores roll by. They're being told that the video that we have on him is when he fell, hitting his head on the floor.
And they have a bloody nose because that's what they've done with that towel. Take a look right here. He dives. And then, wow, there you see it.
Wow.
This kind of guy he's been tonight. We've seen him all over the place.
Well, we talked about within the first 3 minutes of the second half, he had been on the floor 3 different times going after the basketball. And, you know, may not just be his nose. They've got that thing over his eye. Yep. And Holly, you got more for us.
Well, guys, he had actually declared for the NBA draft before last season when Doc Sadler first took over. So one day after he did his introductory press conference, Doc Sadler hopped on a plane, flew 22 hours to Australia to talk to the big man and try to talk him into coming back. What he said to him was, I will not waste one day of your time. I will make you a better player, get you ready for the NBA. So Alex looked up some of his former players, saw how many guys had gotten into the NBA. 8 players that Doc had recruited had made it to the league, and he said, I'm going to trust this guy, and he came back.
Well, he is happy that he did. Obviously, Doc is happy that he is, and so are the fans here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, Robinson scored that basket, Ron. I think they have a foul on the Huskers, so they'll keep the ball. Robinson's basket was good on the drive.
And the foul is on Ballum, and that will be his second foul. Back out to Russell Robinson. Just to put a period on the story I was telling when Marich was injured, he did have a loss of confidence, heavily so, at about a 2-game margin there. And then Coach Self said he just, all of a sudden, he got his identity back. Playing defense, passing the ball, being a team leader out on the floor. And he said it's been 180 degrees ever since. And he said, trust me, we have to have him. Russell is extremely important to this basketball team.
A young man out of New York City. Played at Rice High School, as we've mentioned before. One of the best defensive guards in the country. And the best tandem, in my opinion, with Chalmers.
This is Miller, and it amazes me to be so small to be able to stay away from those big, long arms of the defensive players. Shot clock is at 4. Miller sees it, got to put up a long 3 off the mark. And his bodies go flying. Let's see, Jackson comes away with it, out to Chalmers. So the basket will count, and the foul. Let's see, who are we going to call it on here? Is it Verlander? Verlander picks up the foul. Let's take one more look at it as we go to break. 65-44. All of a sudden, KU with a 21-point margin. We'll be right back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Now get over 85 of the best channels in HD and more coming throughout the year. And in part by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network.
Some results you can see coming, others a little bit more surprising. Michigan State and Iowa. Tony Freeman scored 22 of the 79 points that both teams combined to score. 43-36. Michigan State, number 6 in the country. They bite the dust behind Freeman's big night, and Tennessee destroys South Carolina on the road, 80-56.
Okay, Reese, wow. Well, the conference season starting off for everybody a little strangely. Let's take one more look at March just a moment ago. Watch him hit his eye. It's his left eye. And Holly has an update. Holly?
Well, guys, I felt like I was in the corner of a fight, and they were doing the thing they do with the cut man. They just put those butterfly sutures on his eye. They put this substance to help them stick because he's sweating so much, and then they put a big Band-Aid over that. They cleaned the blood off his uniform, and head athletic trainer Brad Brown's got him back out on the floor.
Okay, Holly. So in basketball, you got to have a cut man just like in boxing.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Last year, Kansas knocked Nebraska out in the opening minutes.
Whew, did they?
Tonight, Nebraska has hung in there, although now the lead has stretched out to 22. But I think for the first 30 minutes, Ron, Kansas really was in a battle, even though it didn't show on the scoreboard.
You know, it's interesting, even hearing from a football coach, a coach from another sport, talking about it's very easy for him to be able to pick out the athleticism. Solomon knocks home the three-pointer. But to recognize very quickly all the athletic ability that another team has. And Bo said to us before we came back on the air, he said, wow, these kids are really, really good, aren't they?
I've had a chance to see Memphis, Carolina, and Kansas in the last 2 weeks. All great teams. To me, Kansas has the most balance of offense versus defense, inside and out. They have a number of go-to guys.
Carolina and Kansas, difference.
The difference is Carolina has 3 great scorers in Ellington, Lawson as a point guard, and then Hansbrough inside. Kansas doesn't have the go-to guy like a Hansbrough, but they have 7 or 8 go-to guys. But Roy Williams told me on Wednesday night he thought they might be a little better offensively than Kansas, but Kansas was a whole lot better defensively than the Tar Heels right now. And today, I find it interesting that they really ratcheted up the defense against the Wolfpack of North Carolina State.
Yeah, they did.
Memphis, I think, is outstanding defensively.
Memphis has won today, one huge. About to go under 6 minutes to play.
Ooh.
There were little steps.
Yep. I'm not sure if Memphis has the Achilles heel, it's the outside shooting.
You know, possibly so, or, well, when everybody on that team is focused, they're scary good.
Yes, they
that,
are.
to me, is the Achilles heel, and that is not having at least half of the group in total focus when they play. Collins dishes it off deep in the corner. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Rush is not there, but the long carom comes back to Sasha Khan. 5.5 to play.
You notice how they're going to use clock, Ron. This is a mature group.
Collins way off the mark. His shooting has certainly not been there this evening, and it will go back to the Huskers. Well, Sports Center coming up next. Pursuit of perfection. Packers unlikely hero and unbeaten no more. Let's see, Collins does have 1 basket tonight. Total of 3 points. And 1 of 5, though, from the field. March left alone.
On away with a little baby step again, but it's okay when you're down 19, I guess. He did get great position inside.
Yeah, he did.
I think he was going to score that ball anyway.
And a reminder, next up for the Jayhawks at home against Oklahoma on Monday night in Big Monday.
How about Michael Beasley today? What did he get, 31 or 32 against the Sooners on the road? Big win for Frank Martin's club.
But I think he also had, what, 11 or 12 rebounds.
Yep, another double-double. That's commonplace for him.
Wow. Mike Anderson.
Big win.
Boy, kudos to him now. That's a great win. Strobridge knocks it down. JR, the sophomore out of Ardmore, Alabama.
You know, these are really great fans because they're down 17. They're cheering for a basket. You just get the feeling that they appreciate that this is one more step in the building process for Doc Sadler's team.
Sasha Khan with the follow.
Young man from Florida Air Academy. A late developer from Tomsk, Russia. He and Jackson seniors, Ron, starting to come into their own.
Yeah. Sasha, though, has got a new do this year.
Yeah, he looks good. I bet he's popular on campus.
Think so?
Yep. Computer whiz, I understand. Played for a really good prep school coach, Orban Gaparo.
Tell you what, Colt Aldrich is a very fortunate young guy. Strobridge hits it 2. Had a foot on the line. Colt Aldrich is going to be a very, very good player. But another reason he's got to be is, folks, every day when he comes to practice, he's got 3 monsters to play against. And that should have been a double dribble, shouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, never mind. I mean, but Cole is going to get better and get better quickly with Arthur, with Jackson, and with Sasha Khan around. And Danny Manning is the teacher. We'll take a break. 53-70.
Hey there, Steve Berthiaume, Scott Van Pelt along the way, standing by to bring you Sports Center as soon as the game is over.
New England locked up in a tight one. It looks like they might survive in a fantastic snow game in Green Bay with an unlikely hero. All the highlights coming up. We'll send it back to Ron Franklin Inlet.
Okay, Scott, thanks so very much. 70-53 our score. And guys, we'll let you have it in a quick 3 minutes and some change. 3:15 is what shows on the clock. Bill Self and his assistant coaches, they're not smiling right now, but they got a lot to smile about. Joe Dooley sitting to the left, and that was Curtis Townsend on the right. What a night for this guy.
Curtis Townsend, his brother Raymond, was a terrific player at UCLA back in the early 70s with David Greenwood.
New career high for Rush. Season high, not career. Who told me career? Get that man out of here. So Sasha Khan is going to head to the free throw line.
Yeah, you look at this Kansas team, Ron. Most of these guys are juniors and sophomores. Excuse me, juniors and seniors. And you remember that year they got off to the 3-4 start.
Fran, next week will definitely be a week of impact to the ESPN family of networks. A chance to see 9 of the top 10 teams in premier conference action. You'll also have a chance to track and see 2 of the remaining unbeatens. Boy, what kind of scheduling coming up this next week. We'll be a part of that. Out to see a Coach Knight on Wednesday evening. Gets win number 900 against a very, very talented Texas A&M team. On Monday night, we'll be in Lawrence on the way to Lubbock to see the Jayhawks as they have a 20-year anniversary of defeating the Oklahoma Sooners. They'll play on the Monday evening for the national championship. Lost it. Chalmers got numbers. Collins.
Collins wanted to pass that ball, but he had no one to pass it to, so he had to shoot it.
Now here's that week of impact schedule. Oklahoma against number 3 KU on Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern. That's all a part of Big Monday, brought to you by Bud Light.
Tell you what, Vandy losing today to Billy Gillespie's club. Bill Self was watching very closely at the shoot-around as Kentucky finally had a huge win in Rupp in double overtime. Now Vandy has to go to Tennessee, red-hot Tennessee.
Jackson goes to the bench. That'll be the last we'll see of him tonight. He finishes with 8 points. And actually 8 rebounds. Really good ball game for him again.
The thing that stands out to me about Kansas is the maturity of this club. I mentioned they got off to a very slow start 3 seasons ago. They've won now 64. They're on their way to 64 of 71 wins.
March now with 16 points.
What is it, 31 out of 32?
Yeah.
Something like that. Last loss to
Rush.
UCLA.
Trying to add to that season high. Miller turns on the burners, and his feet just slip right out from under him. Well, I think they might have better check the floor right there. Obviously some perspiration there. And look, Collins and Miller. Watch this. His feet just, whoops.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's so light, he doesn't hit the floor that hard. That's not like Maric going down. Young man who played at Harmony Prep with the big fella that we saw a couple weeks ago for Tennessee. Brian Williams. We saw his career night, 18 points, 16 rebounds.
Steve Harley gives it back to Miller. Under 2 minutes to play. 74-55 inside to Maric, and Maric scores it. He'll go to the free throw line. Is that? Well, here are the headlines from today. You take them there, friend.
Take a look at what we have. Of course, Roy Hibbert with the big shot coming down the stretch. What a great game in Westwood. As Washington State fought back, came back from 20, but UCLA hung on. Washington State drops its first game of the season. And Billy Gillespie, we mentioned, getting a huge win. Rupp Arena rocking and rolling.
Well, some young men have just checked into the ball game. We need to mention because they are used sparingly. Jeremy Case checks into the lineup, number 10. Colt Aldridge back in. Second time we've seen him tonight. And also, is that Tehan that just checked in as well?
This guy's a scoring machine, Connor Tehan.
Yeah.
41 points in 44 minutes this season.
There's Connor right there. And Tyrell into the ball game. First time that we have seen him this evening. Tyrell Reed, a freshman out of Burlington, Kansas. He had some problems early with a turned ankle, then turned the other one.
Mr. Basketball in Kansas.
Yeah.
Had a chance to.
I tell you what, he's a fun kid to watch now. He has a good time at practice. Good athlete, great attitude.
Got to be patient right now with all these veteran guards.
Yeah. Yep. Know your time.
And Aldridge the same way, as you mentioned, with the big fellas.
Ball was kicked, and they'll reset the clock. That's good at 16 seconds.
There's Connor. We talked about him. He's been red hot this year, Ron. Played 44 minutes. He's got 41 points.
Tehan, as we mentioned, Rockhurst High School, Leawood, Kansas. And Case.
Yep. Tell you what, Jeremy Case has been around seemingly forever, Ron. You talk about those guys at practice.
Well, his dad played with Bill.
He did, yeah. How about his assist-turnover ratio? 24 assists, only 4 turnovers this year. Guy that just comes every day and brings it. Always good to see these guys on the court. Rod Stewart as well. When Rush and Collins were down, Rod Stewart gave Bill Self a huge lift.
Well, Matt is going to check into the ball game.
Big Matt Kleinman.
Yeah. Rod Stewart heads to the bench.
Yep. He is really, you know, he was kind of left behind for a couple of years, but he really was instrumental. Look at that.
And there's Tyrell Reed.
Tehan.
And he got it.
He's got another couple. Microwave.
Well, Reed showing, hey, it's the reason he was Mr. Basketball, unselfish. Dished it off. Could have taken it up himself.
Connor Tehan is 15 of 22 this season.
Miller off the mark, and there's Aldridge.
Yeah, that'll be
getting a rebound.
Yep, that'll be it. I think it's the best team in the country right now, Ron. Memphis and Carolina not far behind, but they took Nebraska's best shot in front of a great crowd.
Well, Bill Self comes down to shake hands with his longtime friend, Doc Sadler. Final score, Jayhawks 79 and the Cornhuskers 58. For more on this game, tune into ESPN News for a post-game extra. I'm Ron Franklin for Fran Frischella and Holly Rowe and our entire crew. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So we have a little bit of everything here tonight. We met the new head football coach, Bo Pelini, and a victory for Bill Self, 79-58. So long, everybody, from Lincoln, Nebraska. Sports Center is next.